ole voina chuan Helen Keller part 2 kha kanjir chun zamanga part 1 na lama khan Helen Kellery chanchina tet lai te adam lo chungchang te adam lo awanga ama a har satna ato te le chu har satna ina anun ati shom tran kha kanjir ania ti chuan vu in lama chuan khamin hu khan engthil nge lo thleng ti kha kan share chun zom le don ani in textbook page 12 fa khan kan tuna kan share tur hi awma in lo en ve du chuan in lo en don ne o the most important day I remember in all my life is the one on which my teacher Anne Mansfield Sullivan came to me kanuna hun poimo ber ka shia trem tur chu ka shia trem tur ni chu ka zirtir tu Anne Mansfield Sullivan ni aron kalni kha ani angati mo teacher kha nei don ta ni chu zirtir tu tur kha nei don ta ni chu mo kha lungai taka hun shom taka manga anu te in biak danan ngai to chianga ama tung dan nen ama sign siam angkhan ani siam lo ti sha khan ri ru ha taki da omani kan ti kha ti chuan azirtir tunu local ni chu kanuna ka sha dreng tur ani ati I am filled with wonder when I consider the immeasurable contrast between the two lives which it connects achan chu kha enge ni kha nundan in anglo tak pani te amai ro chu anin hun zom na hun ani mo kha hun kha anin which it connects anin connect tatlat anin hun zom tatlat maya it was the 3rd of March 1887 chu ati charon thlen ni chu March ni thum sangkhat zariat somriat pasari ani chuta chuan alano pang ma Helen Kellery kha 3 months before I was 7 years old kumsari alatling law thathumin kumsari alatling lawani mo kumrukle thakwa tinani chu mo kumsari alatling lawa thathumin chumi omja chu kumrukle thakwa ani in a teacher tour Anne Mansfield Sullivan ni anu na mi poimo me mai chu alo thlen ni ania atan chuan theihil theirual ani don lawani kan share zelang on the afternoon of that eventful day I stood on the porch dumb expectant chumini ni chen fak tak ni mo eventful day chumini a chuan kan bathara porch bathara kathua dumb engma shelo engma muma engani ti tur nei lo engma tilem lo mai angin be say expectant be say nei si deu khan ka thumai mai ani I guess vaguely from my mother's signs and from the hurrying to and fro in the house that something unusual was about to happen kanu omdan atang chuan mo kanu sign vel atang chuan I kan rin chia da le an che dan vel to and fro hurrying to and fro pili taka anan vi sik vel dan atang te chuan something unusual mo ni danga thengai lo thil hi alo thleng don ani ti kha ki ma khan rin na kha kanei ta so I went to the door and waited on the steps ti chuan ke chu kong pona chuan step mai kong ka tang chu chhuakin step a chuan ka lo va thu ta the afternoon sun penetrated the mass of honeysuckle that covered the porch and fell on my upturned face ti chuan veranda chuan alo va thua mo tu mani local don ani thil thleng don ani ti kharin na chu ne ya kha alo va ngak ve tok ti na ni chu ti chuan thu chung khan chanulama kha niron kalkwal to chanulam ani to a khan hi honeysuckle latia kha an ina pangpar ni honeysuckle kha pangpar moi tak a engte sente apar chwa thi azam chi ania khami I kan veranda vela aron zam chho kara ni na ron en kha mo kan pangpar zam chi kara ni eng ina ni engeni ni khan aron ena kha veranda kha ke kha my upturned face dak ho khan an envel khan amaya khan ni khan aron enani an honeysuckle kara ni ron lu chuan My fingers lingered almost unconsciously on the familiar leaves and blossoms which has just come forth to greet the sweet sudden spring. Ti chuan chung pangpar na te apar te chu ke ka kut chuan an khoi vela sudden spring mo chu thal ni lo muak ni om tak ka pangpar moi tak tak lo par le an na te chu kan khoi vela. I did not know what the future held or marvel or surprise for me. Enge ka chunga yan eng thil nge lo thlenga nga eng thil lom nge eng thilin nge min baraga khai don hi ka sel mi alawa. Anger and bitterness had preyed upon me continually for weeks, and a deep languor had succeeded this passionate struggle. Mo enge ka ma yan lo thleng tur po ka sel om ve top to ni abe kha dong ai thil make mo a surprise na tur thil lo thlen tur eng ma ka selowa thin urna anger and bitterness mo thin urna ten nin na ang chi te khateng ang nin ngoi ngoi ne te khan kar khatvel chung chu min ti buai to mo min lu khung to ta a ti chuan ke ma khan deep languor te languor kha kata khan laziness mo ti chuan kha ke he ke ma khan khang that chiat na te mo zoi na te phur lo na te khan ke ma khan mun na ron khwar na sto em ani. Have you ever been at sea in a dense fog when it seemed as if a tangible white darkness shut you in, and the great ship, tense and anxious, groped her way towards the shore with plummet and sounding line, and you waited with beating heart for something to happen? Kalai ka amma ain ngani ain te khin na ania mo ason soida na khan ngani tuipuya mo sia yan tiao chum kara inom ve to em. Have you ever been at sea in a dense fog? Tiao chum jing vek mo tim cha mup jing cha mup kara yan tuipuya yan inom to em. Chum var bak mu thei to lo khopa thimin akhu to chewem mo nang ma la chuan ti tur nei la nge nyang shom takin mo thim na ringwat khan ron thuam chuwa ti chuan kha long tiao chumina abo kara khan om jane lovin kha long khan malam pan tumin shor lam khonge ti po se lovin kha longa khan a thil man ruwa plummet le sounding line ten en chuan shor lam pangkha be sei bo de ugan mai khan shor an nai nge nai lo po ti po se lo khan in an pan ve a khateng ang deuh khan hlau thong de dep chungin enge thleng tur ti ngai to in yom ve to em ti khan aron zot ani mo ama din mun kha ron in te khina kha ngyang tiao chumina long kal ngai na selo avela om khat tup mai tiao chumina ati buai mo kha long poina bangbo tak maya shor lampang vau kam lampang pan ngai na selo a khol ti sang sang nen po a ngai na selo khatia mang ang taka oma adap kwal vel groped ti kamo groped her way towards the shore with plummet and sounding line ati ka akal na kong tur handap kwal vel ang may akhana in chana khateng ang kha in ve to em khateng ang kha in tong ve to em experience to em ati ki chu khateng ang kha kani sin. I was like that ship before my education began. Kamilong ang kha kani he zirna katan ma yan khateng ang kha kaniya. Only I was without compass or sounding line and had no way of knowing how near the harbor was. Amaro chu kanin anlo na chan chu ke chuan sounding line kha compass long man rwa mo longa man ro poi mo tak kha without compass le sounding kanei bok hek lo ke phe chuan mo tin long vào cấm long ngani vào cấm kha eng ko se bok luya long kal ngai na selo mo mang ang taka khoi lam ngi apan don ti selo ang chia kha ain chanani anun kha se om mem pan tur bi po selo ti tur po selo engi chung lo thleng tur po kha selo ma seng khamini in that very hour an teacher ron thlenni Sullivan ron thlenni and Mansfield Sullivan ron thlenni khachuan mangai zung jam khan me ron chun eng ta te ani I felt approaching footsteps. ke pen ri ka shia ke pen ri hian ka lamrun pan kha ka shia ni ka feel ani. I stretch out my hand as I suppose to my mother. Kanu ni angai ka kuthi ka lo phar suak ve ringota. Someone took it. Ma se midang de khan ka kut kha lo lata a. And I was caught up in the arms of her who had come to reveal all things to me and more than all things else to love me. Ti chuan ka kut kha ka pe ve top mea chu chuan ka kut chu la a. Ti chuan and held close in the arms of her. Mo ama khan nai takin min pot na ya. Chu nu nge chu min pot nai tu nge chuan engkim aron reveal don more aron han chu man yan engkim aron puang chuak aron reveal don aron hai lang to dona mai ziam mul mai kha mo kha aron tilang don. The morning after my teacher came, she led me into her room and gave me a doll. Ti chuan kan teacher thar tur mo my teacher ka zirtir tunu lo kal tu ka chuan atu ka chuan aruma min shwaya doll mo no telem hi min pe ni. The little blind children at the Parkins institution had sent it and Laura Brickman had dressed it. Ti chuan blind children hoin Parkin institution a no pang middel hoina ni anron thon khani a chu no telem chu ti chuan chu zinga Laura Brickman khan kor te kha hak ti ra lo nia. But I didn't know this until afterward. Ma se chung chang te chu tun nuwa chau ka sia a ma chon ka sem lo khoi tang lo kal nge ti te khang detail deuh kha ek ma ka chilo tu. When I had played with it a little while, Miss Sullivan slowly explained into my hand the word D-O-L-L doll. I was at once interested in this finger play and tried to imitate it. Ti chuan chu no tilem bin pek chu rei lo te chung kan han khal ve a kan han play pui ve a. Ti chuan Miss Sullivan chuan ka kuta chuan engemoni hi zia ka ti D-O-L-L-T no te kha no tilem spell D-O-L-L-T kha aron zia ka ke kha finger play khami kuta ron ziak vel khan nuam ka tia. To imitate it ate. Khatia ron ziak ta kha ka kuta engemoni thil ron ziak kwal khan anuam ka tia ti ve ka tung ta a ti imitate ve ka tung ta a. Tichuan, when I finally succeeded in making the letters correctly, I was flushed with childish pleasure and pride. Tichuan, kati anzir ta ka kan D-O-L-L doll ti ka mo ka spell ka om ding ko se chuang lo ka ten tin ko yam ka inti theilut tu ka ti mo atopa chuan a spell zia ka ziak diktani kha akut khan akuta zia kha ti chuan a inti thei ma thiam kha inti limbu ka ni phur maya. Running downstairs to my mother, I held up my hand and made the letters for doll. Ti chuan phur mai khana nu hnen a chuk thata ni anu hnen a chuan a zuk en tir ve ta kha thiam thar kha letter L and D-O-L-L-T kha anu kha zuk en tir ve ni. I did not know that I was spelling a word or even that words existed. Ma se chu D-O-L-L-T sia thosi khan ma se spell ka zia ka ni ti words mo thumal ka zia ka ni ti ka shelo reng tin thumal hi au mani ti po ka la shelo ka ti I was simply making my fingers go in monkey like imitation. Ka fingers khan ka kut khan kan ngani enton imitation mi ti dan zira wang khan kha ka kut khan aziak ve mai ni engi omzia ka la shelo ti mo omzia tak. In the days that followed, I learned to spell in this uncomprehending way a great many words. Kami dol ka up spell mas berani ti ka kan shet ka poimo ve china mo ka dol ka athiam masak berani ya tin nitina kan water ka dam lo ma a khalam ria chia ta kha adam lo nuwa po a ala shia jeng om chun chu ni om zen athuk ang deuh khan ala lam thiam ve ni mo ma seng tu na adam lo nuwa chon engkim a theingil vek to engma shelawa dol ti kha athiam sak ber ni ya ti chuan chumi nuwa chon thil chi sang kha kan zir ve ta a ti mo omzene chu omzia se chuang lo chuan word sang kha kan zir ve ta a tia aron zir chen khat khata zia kha pin pin hat cup and a few words right sit, stand and walk. Katiang ang wat sang thumal sang te kakan zirveta a omzia kaselem chuang lovati. But my teacher had been with me several weeks before I understood that everything has a name. Tichuan ka teacher aron omnu refe anyang chu mo engkim hian mingane ani ti kha ka shat chu ni ati khang khachu engani alo zirve mai teka a omze tak tak shelawa a omze tak tak sha chu a teacher local nu kar tam fe nu everything has a name mo engkim hian mingane ni. One day while I was playing with my new doll no te tharkha no telem tharkhan ron pe kan ti thu no telem thar ni na ni khachu khatia ka in me understand that DOLL applied to both. Ama po kan no telem kha anei tho ve a ti chuan Miss Sullivan khan no telem thar Nilo heta ama no telem nei sa mo big rag doll into my lap khamite kha ka kamal chunga ronda a DOLL ti kha mo aron ziak le tani mo khami ang chia khan doll kha doll ani ve thawani ama mi kha doll ani thawa tuna big rag doll kha mo big rag doll khami no telem pasajok kha po kha doll ani ve thawani ti min shat thiam thir kha tumani. Earlier in the day we had a tussle over the words MUG muck and WATER water. To amade to khan muck ti le water ti spela hian buaina in ti buaina hi kan lo nei to kan miss nen hian. Miss Sullivan had tried to impress it upon me that MUG is muck and that WATER is water. Miss Sullivan khan MUG khammakania WATER ka water ani ti kham shat tir khamin tumani mase but I persisted in confounding the two. Mase khami te pani ka shat pol ka sang thelo reng mayati. In despair, she had dropped the subject for the time, only to knew it at the first opportunity. Ti chuan khatia ka shat thei tak lawa kha chuan beidong tak khan anda son ta shi kha mo she had dropped the subject kha thil ka zir lai po kha anda son ta shi a engtika mo hun kan nei le phasak berazir tur khan ni kha kan han top san te le ta a. I became impatient at her repeated attempts and seizing the new doll I dashed it upon the floor. Ti chuan Helen Keller mo I became impatient Kaning ka do thelo ma chan chu thiam tir min tum lu tuka repeated attempts mo min zir tir non ngun jing lu tuk te kaning thina chu wangin seizing the new doll no te thar chu kan la kan bana ni chhuata chong ka pai ta ati. I was keenly delighted when I felt the fragments of the broken doll at my feet. Kano te thar ka an pai ta chhuata kan ake tanuai meya kha ake them a fragments apart abung them noi mo kami kha ka kebula ron kla te chu ron per te chu kalau limpui pian kalau limpui zoma atiani mo. Neither sorrow nor regret followed my passionate outbursts. Kalungai te ahanin chir te khatiang ang vel te kha om chuang lo mo khatiang ang vel phaka ka nei chuang lo. I had not loved the doll khano te lim kha kang puwe kat lova. In the still dark world in which I live there was no strong sentiments or tenderness. He khovin katan thin khovela hian katan hi chuan ril lu no te khatiang anga ril ru han no te mo han du om na deu te kha ke ma kha chon om zia om lo reng ani atiani. I felt my teacher sweep the fragments of one side of the heart and I had a sense of satisfaction that the cause of my discomfort was removed. Ti chuang kan miss chuan kha ka ti ke noivel chhuata mi kha an phiat khoma heart tia HEARTH kha engani thuk sira khan mo an sitting room khan hei fireplace kan nei an nei thin khamo fireplace khami sira te khan aphiat khom ta ti chuan satisfaction ka nei ti ka thohuai ka hlok ka hadam huai ka lom lut tu ka ni achan chu kha ka discomfort na min ti shom tu kha pai bo ni ta kha ka lom em maya atiani chu she brought me my head chu vele chuan ka teacher chuan ka lukhum maron kenga chu ka lukhum ka mu chuan and I knew I was going out into the warm sunshine and ni pon ni enga kan chuak don ni hi ti ngai dan kha kanei ngal meya this thought, if a wordless sensation may be called a thought, made me hop and skip with pleasure. He ngai tu na thumal tel lo washiat na hi ngai tu an ani ngat chuan chu chuan lom awangin min zuan tira min tum tira ni mo lom awangin lim awangin min tum tira ni atiani. We walked down the path to the well house, attracted by the fragrance of the honeysuckle with which it was covered. Ti chuan pona chuan kan vachuak ta a well house mo tui chun chua in mo tui pamna in khami konga khan kan kalta a chumi konga kan kalai chuan fragrance of the honeysuckle kan ti ni china an veranda a pangpar zam chi kan ti bok me te kha khami kan tui chun chua chung vela par khami rim khan kan she the ni kal kong vela ka kalpo khan ati someone was drawing water and my teacher placed my hand under the spout ti chuan mi pakhathian tui kha lo choi me ka kan kallai chuan ti chuan ka teacher chuan ka kut kha spout engani kha tui her ho na khan ka kut kha wada ta a. As the cool stream gushed over one hand, she spilled into the other the warm water, first slowly, then rapidly. Ti chuan ka kut khan tap khamin khoi tira tui her hon khamin khoi tira tui hong khamin khoi tira. Ti chuan a ka kut le lama chuan a kut hian thil aron spell kharon ziak ta ni mo at muang chang in ziaka. Ti chuan dot le rang takin I stood still, my whole attention fixed upon the motion of her fingers. Ti chuan ngorengin kadinga ka ngai thuan na zong chu a finger akut zung tangina azia chevela chuan ka ngai thuan na chu ava oma ati. Suddenly I felt a misty consciousness as of something forgotten, a thrill of returning thought, and somehow the mystery of language was revealed to me. Ti chuan chuti vele chuanin ka theigil to mo ak theigil deu to kha engeni chiang lo re roi khan ka ron se chuak ta ni he theigil se chuak le ang thut khan kan omta a hun kal to kha ka ngai to le thut ta chuta tang chuan the mystery of language mo language danglam na tong mang danglam na kha se thiam ta ni tong mang he language makna mo makna danglam na hi karon se chuak ta ki ma khan ron hailan in omta a. I knew then that water meant the wonderful cool something that was flowing over my hand. Tuna chuan kha water amang ang taka alo shat pol chin kha ani kha mom mak ti le water ti kha tuna chuan water zo kha chu kha ka kuta ron luang ron far kha thil vot tak mai kha ni ti kha ka sheta a. That living word awakened my soul. Kha thumal nung te ta ni living word kha thumal nung khan ka thinlung kha aron kai tho mo ka thinlung kha ron ti har to a give it light, hope, joy, set it free. Eng aron pe a be se na nen hlim na nen min ti zalen ta ti aron engenyang kha water and feel atang cha me khan engkim ka ama khan engenyang aron in reveal chuak ta kha water nge ni ti kha chiang takin asiat ba ka khan ama khan hlimna phurna mo lom na kha zalen na kha ron thleng ta ni pukhlai ta kha zona pokal du thin maya engtin nge the mystery of language kha aron reveal dan kha mo well house a thil thleng kha kan ziak thin tuna kan soi lai vel kha kan ziak thin ani kha. There were barriers still It is true, but barriers that could in time be swept away. Mase engi mo dang tu har satna mo I khatiang ang khachu ala renga lom ala renga amaru chu chung har satna te chu hunin ala len bo don ni atiani phur to maya alim ve to ani. I left the house, the well house, eager to learn. Ti chuan an kir le khachu mo well house kha I an han kir san le chia khan eager to learn zirbel chak na kha nei ta anun kha ti dang lamin ron to ni chu eng kim hian everything had a name and each name gave birth to a new thought. Chung ming sang eng kim hian ming aneya chung ping sang te chuan in new thought ron pezel ni ngai to anathar aron siam chuak zela ni ti khan mu chuaka. As we return to the house, every object which I touched seemed to quiver with life. Mo phur tak me na lu tan in chunga chuan eng kim mai kan khoi khan mo I touch seemed to quiver with life. Nunna neya che ang khan ka shia ni ti eng kim mai kha athar ve khan ron mu chua ka ni mo a feel ani ma khan ta thil khoi tu khan nunna ne ang khan shia a. That was because I saw everything with the strange new sight and that had come to me. Achan chu ke ma athil dang lam thlenga wang khan eng kim kha ka clear dan kha dang lam to mo clear dan dangin ka clear to a new sight, strange and new sight that had come to me. Kha ane to tlatawangin clear dan dang khan ka clear thei to ane. On entering the door, I remembered the doll I had broken. Ti chuan kong ka kan lu cha me kha kanau telem ti ke kha ka she chuak zok maya. I pulled my way to the hearth and pick up the pieces. Ti chuan kha thuk bula khan mo hearth bula khan ka wak kal lia ka ti ke them te kha kan charle velati. I tried really to put them together. Then my eyes filled with tears, for I realized what I had done, and for the first time I felt repentance and sorrow. Ti chuan put kha ke them noi te kha han charle kha katuma mo charle kha tuma ma sengin ati thei to lo. Chuti lai tak chuan kamita hian mit tui lo tling ta a enge kati kha ka realize ka hre chuak ta ni thil swalati thil poya khoyani ti kha aron hre chuak chami ama kha chuan apoyani ti le khateng repentance in chirna le lung shom ti na kha nei lo kan ti kha ma se khami nuwa tu nuwa kha chuan tuna an lu le chia kha chuan amit tui kha lo ta luang zoi zoya achan chu thil I enge kati kha ka hre chuak ta a avoi khatna tan inchir awanga poiti na mo thilti swala wanga inchir lunga ina kha voi atum khatna tan ka nei ve ta ani ate ani. I learned a great many new words that day. Chumini chuan thumal tisang tam takha kazir tikathiam thekathiama. I do not remember what they all were. Ma se chung tu chu enge kazir kha kashet eng ho nge kha kashet to lo. Ma seng but I do know that mother, father, sister, teacher were among them. O nu te pa ti te unau nu ti te zirtir tu ti te kha kalar kashiat kazir khaminia kazir kalashiat thei chunia. Words that were to make the world both blossom for me chung ka thumal poimo tak katana khovel tinuam tu te khovel ti parmoi tu te chung word te chu kazir kha kala sharungani ate ani. Like Aaron's wrote with flowers, Aaron na tiang pongparina bo ang mai khan chung thumal moi tak I nu pa unau nu ti le zirtir tu ti te khachu kala shia ani ate ani. It would have been difficult to find a happier place than I was as I lay in my crib at the close of that eventful day and lived over the joys it had brought me and for the first time longed for a new day to come. Chumizan ni chen fak tak zana ka khuma ka mutchuan ke ai no pang hlim zo kha chu anwang le ang ni thar lo thleng tur po chu ngak lel takin ka clear ve thei ta ni ti mo alom pui hle me tru Helen Keller kha a teacherina azir tirna ra azir tirna ina thiltha mo Helen Keller nu na thak fe kamimang ang memri ru shom enge ti tur shelo a teacherina อันนุนนรนเสียมชัดดานกับพูนะอรนเปียกันเชียงเฮเลนเกลเลจุตุเงี้ยอะไรขบูติลาร์ตักขันตินกันสวยตากังกันเลขบูโพเซียกตินอาร์ติเคิลจะช่างเสียกบุกตัวน่ะตัวน่ะมาจูตัวเลวมาเซงมีซงอินะอาจารย์จุนันไงวินอันนี้เราตัวปัลกลังโตทิลเตไงน้ำตักจากที่นักขังที่ค่ะลาระมีปนันหลุดมันนี่โอเลขัดเคร่งค่ะวินากันจิรเทจูอันนี้ตัวปะโซนที่ค่ะช่างเวกเทตูรินอินชานเวกเทก็เรื่องตัวน่ะสตอรี่จังคันทิลฮาร์อันนี้ละว่าสตอรี่ชีวิตขจวนมั่วกันเปย์ละว่าไอ้หัตานังมานินเราเชียร์เวอุละเสียบุลจังตัวเคร่งคันอินเชียเอ็มตีค่ะอินเราอินเลโดนเนี่ยตัวนัตานชวนอิดูโตกัง